Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 4, Episode 2, Meet the New Boss.
Yeah. So, Mariah, how was your week?
It was really good. I started my new job.
Yay!
It's at a toy store, and so as of right now, I'm being trained to work the store. But, once I'm trained in that, I'll mostly be working at the warehouse.
Nice.
Which is great. Minimal customer interaction.
Love.
I'll only really need to work the store if, someone calls in sick or something.
Yeah. That's so cool. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
Exciting.
How was your week?
Mine was good. Nothing super exciting since I came to visit you.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned this on the bonus episode, but for Mardi Gras, me and my boyfriend went to New Orleans, and on our way out of town and back home, we stopped by Mariah's to see her for her birthday.
That was fun.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Finally meeting David.
Finally, after 3 years.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we will get to do that again soon.
Yeah.
So that it can be more than just an hour. But, yeah, so it's good.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right. Well, let's get started.
Yeah.
I don't know why we keep saying it in that accent. And it's not a real accent. That's nothing.
It's our I don't know what to say next. So that's the accent.
Anyway, this episode was written by Drew Z. Greenberg and directed by Vincent Misiano.
Nice. We've seen them before.
Yeah. The title is half of the well-known expression, meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Well-known?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I don't know it, but I'm not saying it's not
Sure.
well-known. I'm just saying I don't know it.
And apparently, it's also a lyric from the song Won't Get Fooled Again by The Who.
Cool.
I didn't verify that, so.
Interesting. Very interesting. I love these fun facts.
So who do we meet?
We meet a couple of new characters in this episode. First of all, we meet Lucy. Not Lucy Gray, but kind of a gray Lucy. So, we meet Hugo, who kind of talks too much. Vincent, who doesn't talk enough. There is a nameless ghost man. We all know how I feel about nameless people. And then Jeffrey, who has a real Clark Kent vibe going, and I don't know if I trust that yet. So, let's get right into it.
Hell yeah.
We are diving right back into a supernatural episode. I was like, let me double check what I'm watching right now. A little boy wakes up to the ghost lady in his room. Awful, terrifying, hated that.
Oh no.
He watches her go down the hall into his living room and starts picking up the framed family pictures on the mantle. The little boy yells for his dad as the ghost disappears and the picture falls to the floor. The dad comes out, tells the kid to go back to bed, but then he goes to investigate the broken picture frame, which was a mistake. That's when the ghost comes back and demands to know why they're in her house. The man swears that he has no idea what she's talking about. They've lived there for years. She starts calling for someone named Joseph and then flies through the man and disappears. The son comes forward to check on him and says, "Dad, I'm scared." Bitch, me too. The man sees the son's face start to morph into the ghost face, and he starts screaming. And oh my god, why am I watching this at night?
That opening made me feel like I was in an episode of Ghost Whisperer,
Literally.
personally.
It was, honestly, that was chilling.
Yeah.
I absolutely, my heart was racing. So then, Robbie is driving into work in his fancy Ghost Rider car, and Daisy, discreetly, debatable, follows him in her clunker van, which is iconic, and so, you know, there goes the discreet factor. Right when Robbie arrives, as the other guys at the mechanic, is this a junkyard or a mechanic shop? I don't know.
Both, I guess.
I guess. They all start teasing Robbie for not having watched the game the night before, and that's when Robbie notices Daisy's van on the curb. Fitzsimmons are trying to figure out what was in the box that made all the gang members go insane, and Fitz has the idea to look at it with invisible light and then reverse it, or whatever the science is. Anyway, so they see something, but what exactly are they seeing? Who knows? It's something, and they're excited about it.
I love how well Fitz knows Simmons and, like, the banter.
Yeah.
Like, there's a part, when he's, like, shining the invisible light or whatever, and he's like, and cue Gemma gasping.
And then she does.
Yeah.
So then Matt comes in and says that the dad at the house said in the hospital that he saw a ghost. Simmons says that he was obviously hallucinating, just like the gang members. But Mac has video evidence that maybe it wasn't a hallucination. I can't believe we're going with ghosts. I did not see that coming at all. So May is waiting with Coulson for his big meeting with the new director. Coulson knows that he's in trouble for going after Daisy without permission, but he's ready to own up to it and go out on his next mission. May sounds just like me at all of my previous jobs. You know he's just making you wait just to show you that he can. And then, this is my favorite, he decorates like someone who seriously needs to unclench. May throws out there that Coulson didn't exactly fight very hard to keep his position, but Coulson lets it go, and we still don't have any more information on this new shield, and I'm very impatient about it. Coulson says that the Zephyr is starting to feel more and more like home, and at least they never took that away from him.
A flash forward at the end of the 3rd season finale revealed that Coulson would no longer be the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 4th season. The showrunners intentionally avoided giving hints as to who the new director would be in the sequence. Speculation in the media over the following months focused on which previously introduced character could be taking on the role.
And they were all wrong.
Yeah. It's someone totally new.
That's funny. That's pretty smart, though. He keeps everybody talking.
Yeah.
So Robbie finishes up with a client and sees that Daisy's van is still at the curb. So he decides it's time to confront her again. Or hit her with a crowbar, except that she's not in the van. She's actually inside, laughing it up with his coworker Canelo, and making it seem like she and Robbie are old high school friends, and she's just coming in to get some mechanic help from him. And Robbie is pissed. As Robbie quickly fixes her van, they have a very coded conversation where Daisy proves how much dirt she's dug up on him and tries to figure out if he's a good guy or a bad guy.
Daisy intimidating him with her mad cyber stalking skills.
She's so good at it.
I was so impressed.
Honestly, I would have been pretty freaked out too.
How did she know about the arcade?
Literally, oh my god. They must have like posted about it on Facebook like probably 20 years before or something.
Maybe. Yeah.
Or not 20 years. Facebook wouldn't have existed then. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Getting close.
Now, when was this?
Yeah. I don't remember, like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, well, so if it's season 4, because it started in 2013, right?
Yeah.
And season 4, so I would assume 2017?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway. Robbie continues threatening her and reveals that sometimes he doesn't even remember what he does to people. That's a little freaky. He finishes up with her van, and then Daisy throws a little extra quake in there for good measure, so he has to keep working and keep talking to her. Coulson and May are finally going in to meet with the director, 2 hours late, as May grumbles. They come to a giant security guard who doesn't budge even when May tells him, move! And then the director, Jeffrey, calls for them to come in and dismisses the dozen other people in the room.
In August 2016, the new director of S.H.I.E.L.D. was explained to be a new character to the series, portrayed by Jason O'Mara. The character was described as having Marvel roots that go back to the 1940s.
Wow.
The new director was always going to be new to the series, as the executive producers felt that replacing Coulson with someone he knows wouldn't provide as much tension to mine from.
True.
With the airing of the episode, the character was revealed to be an Inhuman with super strength called Jeffrey. Closed captions for the episode gave his last name as Mace, and a week later the executive producers confirmed the character to be Jeffrey Mace, who goes by the Patriot in the comics.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, you can see if it was somebody that Coulson knew already, he would have been like, I understand, like, we have a history or whatever, and, like, mutual respect. Yeah. But having it be someone completely new definitely changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey starts off being very understanding, talking about how he appreciates loyalty, and he knows that Agent Johnson was Coulson and May's friend, so it makes sense that they would go after her. He then moves into the real reason that they would be in trouble, which is that Agent Johnson being seen as a bank-robbing former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent just when S.H.I.E.L.D. is about to be relaunched as a legitimate government agency again is not great for optics. Which is true, but also she's fine.
Yeah, she's fine. Leave her alone. She's doing it for a good cause.
Yeah. He stays vague about this and then dismisses May, who starts to hallucinate the ghost face again on her way out. And he then tells Coulson that he has a very special, I guess I threw in secret. I don't know why. In my head, he said, I have a special secret I have a special secret mission for you. But he didn't. He just said special. So Fitzsimmons are throwing out possibilities of what this incorporeal woman could be. And Max says, what if she's just a ghost? And Simmons says, that's also a theory.
Simmons!
I love her.
When Fitz is talking about the ghosts, he mentions Tobias Ford, who was a similar ghost-like character in Season 1, Repairs.
I'm trying to remember.
He was the one with the wrench.
Yes.
They were still on the bus.
Yes.
And he was after the religious lady.
Right. Yes. Okay. I was like, I know that name sounds familiar. So Fitz says that the alloys that the box is made of were only created in 3 places in the world. New York, Pasadena, and somewhere else that's unimportant because they didn't mention it. And I love that 2 of the 3 are in America. That's so convenient. And then Mac realizes that the family in the hospital just so happens to live in Pasadena. No way.
What?
So Mac and Fitz head out to get a Quinjet ready, but Simmons unfortunately can't join them because she also has a special assignment from the director to give a tour. Which was Coulson's special secret mission as well, obviously. And he's not happy about it at first. But as Jeffrey explains why he needs Coulson to do it, it actually kind of makes sense. Coulson is the living expert on all things S.H.I.E.L.D. He has, or had, I don't know if he still, I'm assuming he still has his collection. We haven't seen it in a while, but, of old gadgets from the earliest SSR days. He knows all the history of the base and S.H.I.E.L.D. trivia. And Jeffrey explains that the tour is for some congressmen who need to sign off on giving S.H.I.E.L.D. government funding because now that they have to follow the Sokovia Accord, it has to be legit. Or now that they have to follow the Sokovia Accord and be legit, they no longer have whatever unlimited anonymous funding that Coulson seemed to have. He needs Coulson to secure that for them, and they seem to have a mutual secret understanding of why Jeffrey is in this position and not Coulson anyway. So Coulson finally agrees to do the tour.
Jason O'Mara noted that the character was mandated by the president to clean up S.H.I.E.L.D. and make it more like the FBI or NSA. So he appears in the episode, quote, eager to please the United States government, which O'Mara felt created some goofy scenes to contrast those where he has to withhold information from Coulson.
I appreciated that because that does make him... The goofy scenes make him more likable, but also he is called the Patriot, so they're probably not going to be friends, honestly.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a red flag these days.
Not that it's wrong to be loyal to your country, however, you should be able to... Never mind, I'm not gonna go there.
I mean, it's like, I feel like it is a worldwide known fact that America overdoes their patriotism.
Yes, absolutely.
Nowhere else do you have to say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning before school. Nowhere else in the world.
That honestly blew my mind when I found that out. That other places don't do that. Did you know that in Texas they have to also say the Texas Pledge of Allegiance?
I did know that, yes. It's wild.
That's so crazy. So yeah,
anyway.
You know, it's just overdone and used improperly. And so that is why it becomes a red flag. Anyway, moving on. So the ghost lady, Lucy, well, we're about to find out that her name is Lucy. Lucy arrives at the abandoned lab facility and walks straight through the walls like she owns the place. She goes into a dark room and goes straight for the computer and unlocks another of the boxes, just like the one that she came out of. Another ghost comes out named Hugo. He calls her Lucy. Hugo is very confused and is asking lots of questions and interrupting the answers to those questions with the same question over and over again, really. Asking what he did to them, whoever he is. Hugo says that they need to move quickly because they could have been in those boxes for hours. Lucy tearfully tells him that they've been in there for years.
My one question was, how are the lights still on at this abandoned lab?
True.
Like, you saw the grime and algae growing on the fucking sign.
Yeah.
This place has been abandoned for a while.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you know, I kind of think of it as like, you know how, or I don't know if, maybe, never mind. There are certainly buildings like downtown. There's, sometimes there are like abandoned apartment, like high-rise buildings that the lights are still on for no fucking reason. Nobody lives there. They don't, like, and I guess, especially if, I don't know if this lab was affiliated with the government at all or not, but I feel like, I just get the feeling that they were. But you're right, that's dumb.
Plot.
So Daisy and Robbie are still talking. Daisy tries to relate to Robbie and say that they're both Inhumans and should be on the same team. But Robbie says he is not an Inhuman. He sold his soul to the devil. And he says he's done talking, so Daisy can do whatever she wants, turn him in or whatever. He's got nothing to lose. Daisy knows that that's not true and brings up Robbie's brother, Gabe. Just then, Canelo lets Robbie know that the rest of the coworkers are leaving, so Robbie lights a wrench on fire and says, "You shouldn't have mentioned my brother." Valid, honestly.
Yeah.
He starts charging towards her, and Daisy throws one little car, and suddenly her hands are hurting. I really hate this new, like, using her powers too much thing. It reads as, like, we made her too powerful, so now we have to knock her down a peg and give her a weakness or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he overpowers her, / she gets carpal tunnel, and then he punches her in the face. Ugh. It's, you know what? I'm not done. It makes me so mad because for like 2 seasons now, she's been like the most powerful character in the show, and now all of a sudden she's like, my arm. No, my wrist. It hurts. And she's getting knocked out, like, fuck out of here. I don't know. I don't like it. May tells Agent Piper to get the squad ready for training, and they have a cute little exchange about what May wants to be referred to as. And actually, I love this. She tells Piper that she can just call her May. And Piper says, I can do May. I mean, I can do that, May. Finally, somebody has a crush on May that isn't fucking Ward. As Piper scurries off, May watches Coulson help with the tour, and he obviously loves getting the chance to info dump about his special interest. As the stragglers of the group pass by, May hallucinates the ghost face on them as well. And again, why is this affecting her so slowly when everyone else, like, immediately either got killed or sent to the hospital?
She's just got insanely strong constitution.
Yes.
She rolled for constitution and got a nat 20. I don't know if that's how it works. I haven't played D&D in a really long time.
I have never played D&D, so you're right. So May goes to see the crime lord in his isolation pod and ask if he's quote seeing them too. He says he sees them everywhere, but no one else seems to. She tells him that she does and asks what she's supposed to do to help them. But then he just like basically starts glitching and repeating everywhere, everywhere, as he slams his head into the window over and over again.
That's brutal.
It was really bad. May sees the ghostly face on Simmons as well when she comes in to check on the patient. But by the time Simmons has gotten the situation under control, May has left. Obviously, I also would run away. Mac and Fitz are on the Quinjet commiserating about all the bureaucratic bullshit they have to do now. Mac says, I'm a mechanic, not an accountant. And Fitz says, you're an engineer and a small tank. No selling ourselves short around here.
I love that line.
Doesn't he? He calls him like handsome in the next line too, I think. I love it. They're best friends.
Yeah.
we're best friends. Of course we flirt a little sometimes. Mac mentions that he's really tired from all these deployments, and Fitz asks if he still gets to see Yo-Yo occasionally. Mac says that they Skype when they can, but they don't get to see each other very often. Fitz offers that at least Mac isn't on a wild goose chase for Daisy anymore, and Mac starts to get defensive, saying that he tried his best there, but Fitz says he knows this, and then he changes the subject and says they should be landing in an hour. I just love their friendship. I could have watched just that for the whole episode.
Yeah. It's also so funny to me in TV shows when, like, he, like, changed the subject and, like, at the same time kind of shut the conversation down. Yeah. But they still have an hour left of flight.
Right.
So
what are you going to talk about now?
Do you just sit in silence for the next hour?
They're like, okay, let's go back to our paperwork. So, the Ghosts have released a third member of their group, Joseph Maisby. The Ghosts have released a third member of their group, Joseph maybe? Not Joseph. The men are saying that Lucy is partially to blame for their situation because she was so obsessed with a book and using a Darkhold. And that sounds super familiar to me, but I could not place it.
You watched WandaVision, right?
Yes!
It was in WandaVision and the Multiverse of Madness.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. They kind of...
Agatha.
They kind of
Agatha.
like...
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of rocket blasted the like MCU continuity of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, yeah. Does that make sense? So, like, they just blew it up with the Darkhold. But I still hold my headcanon is that now that we're, like, into the multiverse sort of thing, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. can still be canon.
Absolutely.
Because they're just in another universe.
Totally.
Where Coulson didn't die.
Exactly.
The books that the Ghosts are searching for is called The Darkhold, from the mystic side of Marvel. Billions of years ago, the evil elder god known as Chthon?
Sure.
Put into writing all his evil works and spells. Originally a collection of parchments, often referred to as the Chthon Scrolls, the pages were later bound together into a tome as the Darkhold. Also called the Shiatra Book of the Damned, or the Book of Sins, the Darkhold has served as the source for other spellbooks, such as the Necronomicon. The pages of the Darkhold are enchanted to be indestructible, so that the book may always serve as a conduit to the Earth Realm or Chthon's influence and power. I said Chthon twice. Like, I'm interchanging them now.
That's fine.
The book has been used by many characters in Marvel and is the source of both vampires and werewolves in the Marvel Universe. It was also used by Doctor Strange to wipe out all vampires on Earth except for Hannibal King, whom he restored to human form, whoever that is.
Interesting.
The book has many ties to all the mystic arts and practitioners in Marvel.
So, the book is the source of vampires and also the death of vampires.
Yeah.
Wow. Edward Cullen, we're coming for you. So the men ghosts, of course, say that Lucy needs to hurry up with whatever she's doing because he has already had years of a head start. But Lucy says they'll find him and kill him along with anyone who gets in their way. And this is just, they could help. They're like, you need to fix this. You need to hurry up. And I'm like, stop talking and she'll fucking do it. Quit bugging her. She's working on it. And also, who are these people? Daisy wakes up tied to a chair, hot, with a fractured wrist. Daisy wakes up tied to a chair with a fractured wrist while Robbie's while Robbie goes through a box of her stuff.
Hold on, I need it. After a fight, Robbie Reyes tells Daisy that her arm is fractured, not broken. Although the two terms are often thought of as different by the layman, they actually mean the same thing. If her arm was fractured, it was indeed broken.
That's hilarious.
That's a goof.
That's funny though, because I feel like, yeah, I have heard that people always say them as though they're separate things.
Yeah. I think it's like...
A fracture is, the way I understand it, is a fracture is like there's a crack. But it's not like broken all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my understanding as well.
But I guess in that sense, it is still broken.
Yeah. I think it's kind of semantics.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or is that pedantic? Or do they mean the same thing?
Pedantic to use semantics, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, so Robbie says that he's looking for proof. He has never been caught before, and that's a problem. He also says that clearly Daisy has a death wish, and she even told him so, that she deserved to die. So he's looking for proof that she does. Once he finds it, he can grant her wish, and his problem goes away. Easy peasy. Everybody wins. The ghosts release one more, named Vincent. But poor Vincent doesn't have a voice, so he's just screaming.
It's so funny, honestly.
It's so funny and so sad. Lucy tries to explain her plan to him, that they need to find the book and Joe and reverse what's been done to them. But this just makes Vincent more mad and scream even more. And that exchange in itself, he's like just screaming, and then Hugo's like, tell him the plan, and then she tells him, and then he's like, oh, no! The other two hate the plan too, but Hugo follows Lucy's orders to pick up the rest of the power cells. The second man, who is not Joseph, we have confirmed, says that he's going to burn the building to the ground and that he doesn't want to follow Lucy's directions anymore. Which, like, okay, then why are you telling her to hurry up? Just go do what you want to do. Go away. Robbie asks Daisy to tell him what's been haunting her, because in going through her past, it seems like she's trying to do penance for something. He says that they're not really all that different, which, duh, she's literally been saying that the whole time. She agrees that they are the same, and he insists that he's not inhuman. And she's like, you just said 10 seconds ago that we are not that different. She starts to tell him about the weapon that she was tracking down, and that it was made in Pasadena, at Momentum Alternative Energy Lab. Robbie recognizes this immediately, throws everything back in the box, puts duct tape over Daisy's mouth, and heads out to his car to hit the road. Daisy quakes herself out of the tiny little extension cable that's holding her to the chair, holds onto her wrist because it hurts, and then chases after the car, launching herself on top of it, and then holding onto the roof as he drives down the street.
Definitely breaking it.
For sure. She holds on for a very long while, but he eventually turns on the flames and she falls off. I don't know how she caught up with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Simmons has finally made her way back to the lab, 15 minutes late for the tour that she was supposed to be helping lead. The director suggests that they go see the containment pods that she just mentions is the reason, or the thing that was keeping her, which is stupid, because if it was keeping her, obviously there was an incident, because that's what was making her late. So why would you go there if there was just an incident? Coulson obviously catches on quicker, and they eventually get Jeffrey to suggest something else. So he has the congressman go step foot on a real live Quinjet instead. Coulson asks what set Chen off, and Simmons asks if Coulson has spoken to May recently.
The new boss, Jeffrey Solomon Jeff Mace, also known as the Patriot and Captain America, is a fictional character, a superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. Wow, thank you for that. He has been around since 1941, but in 1976, Marvel revealed via retroactive continuity that Mace had become the third Captain America sometime after his World War II era adventures. In the comics, he has no superpowers, but is an incredible hand-to-hand combatant.
Interesting. I also, maybe I'm reading into this, but the fact that his middle name is Solomon is like, that's like a Old Testament reference, and so I'm like,
yeah.
But also, wasn't he the one that tried to cut a baby in half? So I'm like, he's like supposed to be this wise and like morally upright character, but then he maybe is going to do some questionable stuff. And if not, fine. I'm reading into it.
I love it.
So Mac and Fitz have arrived at Momentum Labs and find the room that the ghosts were in, but they're gone now. Or so we thought. Fitz checks out the computer and says they have a big problem, but there's actually a bigger one because not all of the ghosts are gone. It's the angry one.
Oh no!
The angry nameless one. Coulson finds May obsessively going through everyone's lockers. She says something has infiltrated the base, and so she's trying to see if someone brought something in so she can destroy it. Coulson tries to get her to calm down, but she won't even look at him. Coulson reminds May that they have blood samples for every single person on the base, including the director, so they can test everyone and see who's been infected. She just needs to go to the lab. May finally agrees to this, and oh my god, that was so smooth. Good job, Coulson.
Yeah.
Fitz is trying to shut down the timer that's set to blow up the whole building and possibly several city blocks, while Mac is looking out for the ghost. The ghost appears again and shoves Mac into the cell in the middle of the room and locks the door. Fitz tries to tell the men that they can help him, but he says no, they can't. As Coulson and May are walking through the training class to get to the lab, May starts seeing the faces again and gets suspicious. She starts fighting everyone. And fuck, how do you stop that? She can literally fight an army by herself, and she thinks that everyone she sees is infected with something. Like,
Yeah.
That's impossible. Which I'm sure is the only reason they gave Jeffrey super strength. Because he arrives and May starts to fight him too, but her punches just don't even faze him.
Why is it that super strength always seems to come with, like, super resistance to pain?
True. I don't know.
Like, those aren't the same thing.
Like, surely you can still feel it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he just lifts her up and then hits her against a wall until she passes out.
It was a lot. Like,
yeah. Oh my god.
I thought he was gonna kill her.
So now we find out that the director is a secret Inhuman.
Woo! In the comics, Mace is a former reporter who was inspired by Captain America to become a superhero despite his own lack of powers. The character was made an Inhuman for the series. This followed the series' pattern of taking characters from the comics and putting a twist on them for television.
That's cool. I think it works. Like,
yeah.
He would have been pretty useless if he wasn't Inhuman. So the ghost is still coming for Fitz, and he says that he won't let them put him back in there. He clearly thinks that Fitz was on the team that put him in the box for all those years. Fitz tries to tell him that he doesn't know what he's talking about, but the ghost just says, "You'll see," and then reaches to touch Fitz. But in the nick of time, the Ghost Rider has arrived and is able to grab the Ghost Man. Fitz runs to let Mac out of the reactor, but he can't turn the stuck handle. So Daisy arrives then. Again, don't know how she got there. And we don't find out. She just arrived. But she arrives and she quakes open the door. The Ghost Rider then turns the nameless ghost man into flames and leaves, grabbing a photo from off the wall. Max starts to go after him, but Daisy stops him. Back on the Quinjet, Mac is wrapping Daisy's wrist in a splint as they talk about what just happened. Daisy swears that Robbie is not just a murderer, that he only kills people who deserve it. And she says the proof is in the fact that he saved Fitz's life. Mac says that no one gets to choose who lives and who dies like that. And he asks Daisy to come back to S.H.I.E.L.D. with them so they can fully heal her arm. He starts to say that they have bone-healing drugs that can help her, even though their stock always seems to be running low. And as he says this, he realizes what's been happening. How while he's been crossing the globe looking for Daisy, Yo-Yo has been in contact with her and stealing drugs for her. Fitz gets angry now too and says that they've all been through some bad shit, but only Daisy has turned her back on them. I hate seeing Fitz mad.
I know.
Daisy simply says...
It's like really upsetting.
I know. Daisy simply says that she's doing what she feels she needs to, and then thanks Mac for the splint and leaves. That was honestly like a really upsetting scene.
Yeah.
Jeffrey says goodbye to the congressman at the end of their tour, and he and Coulson finally have a moment to speak freely. And we finally learn what the hell happened. Sort of. When the government decided to make S.H.I.E.L.D. legit again, Coulson did not want to be the face anymore, for a plethora of reasons that we will not get into here because he didn't want to get into it. He initially wanted Steve Rogers to take over as director, or at least that's what I understood. But since that wasn't possible, he said they needed a hero, someone powered that the public could trust. And Jeffrey was the candidate that was chosen. And not that Coulson chose him, but that's who he was given. Coulson tries to ask more about how Jeffrey is going to handle May, but Jeffrey says that while Coulson is his most trusted advisor on everything else, when it comes to May and Daisy, Coulson just can't be objective, so Jeffrey does not want his input. And honestly, I understand that, actually. I don't like it, but I do understand it.
Yeah.
But I take it back! I take it back! Immediately I take it back, because why the fuck is May on this plane with the Congress people in a straitjacket? She's freaking the fuck out, yelling, "Get away from me! I hate it! This is a terrible idea." No.
It's also like, why put her on with the Congress people.
Literally.
That's not a good look.
What the
That's
hell?
not a good look.
You just spent all this time doing this tour to impress them, and then you're gonna do that? What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh.
So, I hate Jeffrey.
Discussing May's sickness in the episode after being infected by the ghost Lucy in the season premiere, Wen explained that it starts to affect May's perception of things. It's almost like being on LSD, but worse. It's not good. You never want May out of control. You don't want her to be paranoid.
Truly. That's what I was saying. Like, how the fuck are you supposed to stop her? Oh my god. So now it's time for the post-content content. Daisy finally gets back to her van and it won't start. So much for all that mechanic work. I mean, he was in there all day. She walks back out to the street as Robbie pulls up next to her, and he says that he thinks the thing that's connecting all these people is him. And then he invites her to join him, and she hops in. And, oh my god. The way he, like, opened the door from the inside, it was kind of hot. Oh my god. I would get into.
Listen, this is the exact point in the episode that I wrote this note, and it just says, listen, Gabriel Luna is so hot.
Truly. Oh my god. Yeah. No. Yes.
Regarding Robbie Reyes' choice to work with Daisy at the end of the episode, Luna said that a lot of that is I respect her power and I respect her. I understand that she's going in the same direction I am. She's seeking the same ends that I am. So I offer the opportunity for her to jump in and saddle up and we go figure these things out.
Hell yeah. I'm excited. For the
Me
direction
too.
this is going. I like the ghost thing.
Yeah.
I'm very confused by it, but I like it. And, you know, in the same way, I like Robbie. I'm, like, scared of him, but, like, in a sexy way, you know?
I stayed over at Tyler's house last night, and I brought my laptop so that we could go to the coffee shop that we usually go to, and, like, I could put in my notes and stuff, and I read the part about you getting in the car with him, and then this part as well, that I'm scared of him in, like, a sexy way, and he was like, David better watch out.
No, David just needs to get in a better car. I don't know.
My little lanyop fun fact that I didn't really know where to put, but I wanted to include. This is the second comic book character that Jason O'Mara has played. He voices Bruce Wayne / Batman in 6 DC animated movies.
Wow. I can see that. He's got a nice superhero voice.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
wow.
That concludes our episode on Season 4, Episode 2, Meet the New Boss.
What a good one.
It was. Next time, we'll be covering Season 4, Episode 3, Uprising, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye.
Bye, love you.